Kimmy, welcome. Hey.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now I just want to start off by saying I kind of can't believe this is happening, and I can't actually even believe you're doing it. Honestly, I still can't, because you are massive, and you're so funny and so smart, and I just want to say thank you, because I really don't think I deserve this, but I'm stoked to have you on.
That is not true. You do deserve this, because I literally went to your page to, kind of help me find out that, not that I just went to your page and it's just like, I'm autistic. I did my research and everything, but your page was one of the pages that really helped me realize, like, every time you were talking, I was just like, oh wow, I relate to like pretty much everything he is saying, and then you would talk about women and like being, it made sense. It made sense. So you do deserve this. And at the end of the day, we're both just two autistic people having a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. How did we get to autism for you? How did this become part of the conversation, and how did you look into this? And it seems like a really fascinating journey for you, given, your life experience.
Well, when I found out I had POTS, I was like, okay, so I know what's wrong with me physically, but I still and I hope you don't take offense to this, but I've always felt off. You know what I mean?
No, definitely not. Yeah, 100%. Out of place, mismatch, absolutely, 100%.
Just off. Like, I don't think the way that all these other people do. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's just, people have always made me aware that I'm not the same, if that makes sense. Like, I'm just a little bit different, and I think a little bit differently. And I was looking up, is the word
morbidities? Yep.
Yeah, that word. I can never say that word.
I hate it. I just say co-occurring conditions, to be honest with you. But
yeah, co-occurring. Yeah. And POTS and autism often go hand in hand.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, so I'm not trying to find more wrong with me. Trust me, if any of you are just like watching this and you're like, she's just trying no, I don't want more wrong with me. I don't want another thing added to the list. Trust me, that's the last thing I want. But whenever you realize that you're a certain way and you don't know why, you go searching for answers. And that's what I did. And I did it with POTS, and I really realized, like, I've just always been slightly different than other people. And so, like, there's just so many instances where I was just, like, either yelled at or reprimanded, or, like, why are you trying to act like an adult? Why are you, like, trying to be in on the conversation? Or why are you saying that? Or why are you acting that way? Or why are you being a brat? Why are you talking back? I was trying to get justice. Yeah. I was not being a brat. Yeah. I was probably overstimulated. Like, just so many things. Like, I was called a brat so many times as a child, and I was, like, a really good kid. I was not a bad kid. But if I talked back, now sometimes I would talk back because I was just a kid, but I remember so many times being told that I was talking back, and I'm like, no, like, I'm literally just trying to get a legitimate answer. And, like, and I remember being, and, like, because I was a kid, like, I was just, like, reprimanded because for being smart.
No, that is so relatable to everyone. I guarantee autistic people relate to that from the point of view of, so I was always called a smart ass, right, when I was a kid. Right? I've always got an answer to everyone. It's like, but it's not my fault if my answer is actually smarter than what you said. Right?
That's what I said. So you're going to punish me? I felt like Matilda. I'm like, wait, so you're punishing me for being smart?
Yeah, exactly. And that continued into the workplace. And then bosses would get shitty at me because I actually had legitimate, but they would stop giving me reasons or excuses. They're not reasons or excuses. They're answers to your stupid bloody questions. But in saying that too, etiquette and authoritarian figures, they're social constructs. Now, we're talking about an autistic brain that it has challenges in communication and interaction, which was formed by social constructs. And there's this kind of fairness and this justice and this right or wrong. But again, people think that's high and mighty, but actually, to be factual about it, It's
Yeah.
actually because our brains are concrete, rigid, black and white. Same.
Yes.
I'm not saying we are as people, but I'm saying our brain. Now, again, there's two sides of the brain, and the autistic brain is stronger, logically wired than emotional. So, for example, neurotypical people have a more emotional brain, right? So they don't see the logic in things as well as we do. And of course, they have more emotional insight than we do. So we might be not as emotionally intelligent as them. And
Yes.
this is
Yes.
why we can have such horrific childhoods and also are virtually unemployable.
Yes. Like I used to get in trouble because like I would have a customer be mean to me and I'm just like, I don't know who you think you're talking to right now, but you're not going to talk to me like that. And they're like, well, you can't talk to the customer like that. And I'm like, why the fuck not? I'm like,
yeah,
I'm
well,
a
the customer's not
They're
the customer's not right just because
No.
they say they're right.
I hate that saying, the customer's always right. Screw that. Because like, and I could never work. I could never work because I used to work at, I don't know if you know what Dollar General is, essentially a tin box building with like just a bunch of like cheap stuff in it. Anyway, I used to be a manager of one way back in the day. And yeah, I would have people talk to me. And because I was the manager, like I could be like, I don't know who you think you're talking to because like nobody could yell at me because I was the manager. But then eventually someone complained and I'm like, dude, I'm not going to let customers treat me like shit. Like, I'm not being, like, overly mean, but I'm just like, this lady was like, well, this says it was on sale, and I need that price. And I'm just like, well, that's not going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
that's just not going to happen because I'm not getting in trouble so you can get a price.
Yeah, and that's logical and factual and right or wrong. That's a logical explanation, and that's why, unfortunately. So here's the thing, right? If our legs didn't work, it'd be just a given that they would provide us with ramps. But because our brain is different, they don't believe in mind ramps for the mind, which is, Kim or Orion, that this is not rudeness. They're autistic. You've said something, it's not factually true to them, so they've told you that it's not factually true. Now, see, this is the issue in the real world, whether it's school or workplace. HR will reprimand you, the human resources, whatever, will reprimand you for being autistic because they expect you to be neurotypical. Now, they can say what they want to say, but the fact of the matter is you need to be neurotypical in the workplace,
Yeah.
or you make the
fit in.
neurotypicals uncomfortable. Now,
Yeah.
the problem with that is, if your legs don't work, they're not going to say you're in trouble because you didn't walk up the stairs this morning. That's against HR policy, right? But of course, if you have an autistic brain, and that's the only part of you that's autistic, your brain is wired differently. You can't replace your brain. You literally would have to get, the brain out and put a new brain in. So you can't ask a blind person to see.
Yeah.
You can't ask a person whose legs don't work to walk. And you can't ask an autistic person to be neurotypical. But of course, in your workplace, in my work, whatever, they are. And this is one of the core issues of, late diagnosed autistic people is, they have that diagnosis, but it's like, yeah, great, but it's going to mean chicken shit in the workplace. They don't give a crap. And in addition to that, I've got no chance of ever getting a job or a career or holding it down unless I continue to mask and suppress and, for the rest of my life. And where's that going to get me?
That's why part of the reason, like, I do want that official diagnosis because for those of you watching, I am self-diagnosed, which I believe is for autism because you know yourself best. And it's not like I just came on here and was just like, I'm autistic. Like I've been doing months and months of research just as I did for POTS.
Please don't justify yourself. And before I'm just going to jump in before you talk about the other reason, especially for women. Girls, and depending on what race you are, depending what country you're in, depending how much money you have, depending on how long you can
no
wait,
money growing up.
depending on how stupid the doctors are, there are thousands of barriers getting in the way of anyone who's not a young white boy for an autism diagnosis. So self-diagnosis is completely valid if you believe you've given it a really good shot at researching and learning it. You're not just trying to get out of a cornflakes packet. That's a cereal box. The fact of the matter is there are many barriers. And even if you have the money and you can wait and you get an appointment, you'll probably get some moron who hasn't learned anything since the 60s. And, I got told by a guy, I went to university, and I could make eye contact with him from time to time, so I can't be autistic. Right. So the bottom line is there are many barriers. So self-diagnosis is not something you need to justify or you will ever justify again. That's coming from me. Thank you, Kim. And the reason why an official diagnosis would work, you were going to say there are benefits to that, and then you were going to talk about some of those benefits.
Yeah. I was just going to say that, like, I personally, like, I would like that, diagnosis. But at the same time, it's like, you're right. People, will they, I'm scared because it's like people say, like, I had someone, because I've been briefly talking about it online. I would say this is my big, like, coming out about it. But, people will be like, you don't look autistic. And I'm so scared. It's the kind of, like, you don't look like you have POTS or you're faking your POTS. I'm just scared for another level of that. Just, I don't know. You know what I mean?
In the end, it's a bullshit thing to say. And, I acknowledge it. I get it. But the fact of the matter is this is about you, not them. And in the end, sometimes people like us who potentially have grown up with very little self-worth and very high-end self-loathing would like a professional to put on a shiny bit of paper that we actually are right. This actually is us, and we're not just broken and bad and useless, and we're not what we think parents told us we were. Okay, and that actually helps. And my answer to that question, if that's a question, is, well, yes, I think you can. I think that is something that actually is something that you feel. You do feel that. I do feel that. It gives me, it validates me. But it's not possible for everyone, and that's sad. And then it comes down to do you disclose it? Now, what if you had a kid and you knew that if your kid discloses it, they can't have their dream job of, I don't know, following their grandfather into the Air Force because you can't be autistic and fly a plane, right? So, okay, cool. You're not disclosing. Do you see how this just snowballs? So disclosure is a massive issue for autistic adults, but assessment should be the least of your worries. And yeah, you just can't let people push you around and get you down. In the end, you've got to do what's right for you. And that's the thing. You find your tribe, and and
and I know I'll have so many people support me. I know that.
Yeah.
After this
100%.
video comes out, I know there will be so many people that are like, wow, I had no idea that Kimmy was autistic. Like, I feel so seen now. I know that, and that makes me feel so good because I know while this is really hard for me, I know, like, about my POTS, like, it's important for me to talk about because it's going to help somebody. And and also it's important for me to accept that this is who I am, and I want everybody to know that. And I want everybody to know, this is how my brain works. If I if I seem a bit awkward when you come up to me for a picture, it's not you. It's just, oh, okay, yeah. And not that I don't want to, but it might be me, or it just depends. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it takes a massive amount of time and effort, to do this kind of things. And frankly, I'll be honest with you, and I say this from time to time, I'm pretty much tired of life. I've pretty much got to the point where I feel like an 80-year-old man. Like I wouldn't even say I'm suicidal. I always tell people I'm not suicidal. I'm just tired. I'm just tired, man.
Orion, when I tell you I say this every day, I say this every single day. I say to my wife, I don't feel 26. I feel 66. Because I get up and I'm just like, oh. Like, I just hurt.
It's exhausting, yeah.
It's exhausting. And it's just like, yeah, I'm not suicidal, but I'm tired of being tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired of being tired.
Really, people think we're delusional. I really don't feel suicidal, but I'm not especially phased if it all ended. Because the fact of the matter is every day is really tiring.
Yeah. When you live day to day like that, it's exhausting. And some people can't even fathom it. And it's like, but we're just going about our lives. We're trying to make it work. And people are like, well, why are you so depressed? And it's like, because some days I can't hide it. Some days it's not as easy to hide as others. Like, I'm gonna, So the way I completely understand that is I get it, both mentally and physically. I feel like I've lived 5 lives already.
Oh man, yeah, no, I wish I could explain it in a way where it didn't make me feel so small, like I'm minimizing real people's struggles. Like I'm not.
No, I know.
It's just really, yeah. And it's sad too when you have like a family, like obviously you've got a wife. When you have a family, they must think, well, what are you saying about me? You know, but it's like. It's not even connected to that.
No.
You know, it's not even connected to that. It's like, but for you, I'd be gone. I swear to God, if I didn't have my family, I'd be gone, man.
Well, and that's what I say to Hannah because I have the same thing, and like she knows because we've had not a fight, but like we've had this discussion. Well, what do you think about me then? Da, da, da. And I've had to say, this is nothing about you, and and like I've said to Hannah, if it were not for you, I wouldn't probably be here.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for being so open and honest and authentic. And like, there's so many, not just women out there, but there's so many late diagnosed autistic people, or even just people, who may be experiencing, POTS and different things that really benefit from someone like yourself, being vulnerable and open. So, like, seriously, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for giving me a platform, because obviously you have a lot of autistics that watch you, and so like I hope that I brought something to the conversation, and that maybe I helped some people. And yeah, I'm gonna be probably I don't know how much I want to talk about it. Like, not that I won't talk about it on my page as much as I do POTS, but like I'm definitely going to be talking about my autism journey and that kind of stuff, because I really do think it will be beneficial for people. And I that's what I want to do at the end of the day. I know it sounds so cliche and so many people have said it, but like I really, if I could do anything with what I've been given, I just really want to help the world and change the world. And so I'm glad that you've given me the opportunity to do that with your page. And I just thank you so much.
Do you mind just doing one little thing for me here?
Yeah.
There's a really good friend of mine who's an autistic woman in America. She lives in Colorado. And
I think I know who it is.
Who?
That blonde lady.
Yeah. How'd you know that?
Because I watch her too.
Oh, neurodivergent.
Yeah, I couldn't remember her.
Her name's Jen.
Jen.
And her channel's called Neurodivergent. Oh, I'm going to send this to her because you just said you know her. This will blow her mind. I was just going to say, would you say hello to her and stuff, because it will blow her mind. She yeah. Would you say hello to Jen?
Yeah, hi Jen. I've watched your channel like so many times before. If you ever want to collab and talk about the TISM, I'm here.
You would have just blown her mind. She'll love that. Thank you so much, Kimmy. I really appreciate that.
Of course. I'm so excited to maybe get to talk to her. That'd be cool.
But anyway, I am forever in love, and thank you so much for your time. It's been the bestest, Kimmy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Orion. I really appreciate you.